Hey guys, today we're having a look at how to give opinions. In the previous lesson, we looked at how to ask someone for their opinion. So in this lesson, we're going to look at how to answer that. So to start with, there are a number of different ways that we can do this depending on what our answer is and whether or not it's an adjective or a noun that comes before to omoimasu, which is the verb meaning think. So I'll go through each one of those and explain what the difference is. In our first scenario, watashi wa, then you put your opinion in plain form. Then you attach to omoimasu or omotteimasu, and that means I think that something or other. The other alternative is attaching to omoimashita, which is the past tense of think, which is thought. So I thought that. So if the statement ends with a noun or a adjective and des, this is what we do. So it is Mr. Tanaka. Tanaka-san desu. But if you want to say, I think it is Mr. Tanaka, we have to put our opinion in plain form. So we change desu to da, Tanaka-san da, and then we attach to omoimasu. So I think it is Mr. Tanaka. In our second example, it is very pretty. It's simply totomo kirei desu. But if we want to say, I think it is very pretty, again, we have to put our opinion in its plain form first. So totomo kirei da, again, da is the plain form of desu, and then we attach to omoimasu. I think that. If it's a negative statement, so for example, it is not Mr. Tanaka, would simply be Tanaka-san janai desu. But if we want to say, I don't think it's Mr. Tanaka, Tanaka-san janai to omoimasu. Because in this case, janai is already in its plain form, and then we can simply attach to omoimasu. Again, in our second example, it isn't very clean. Amari kirei janai desu. So if we want to say, I don't think it's very clean, we change it to amari kirei janai to omoimasu. Now, if our statement ends with an I adjective and then des, then we do the following. So if we want to say something like it's entertaining, we can simply say omoshiroi desu. Omoshiroi is an I adjective. But if we want to say I think it's entertaining, omoshiroi to omoimasu. So in this case, we don't need the da before to omoimasu to express the same thing using an I adjective but in a negative state. For example, it isn't expensive. Takakunai desu. So we're using the adjective takai and we're changing it to its plain negative, which is takakunai. And then if we wish to say that we don't think something is expensive, we can simply drop des and add to omoimasu instead. So takakunai to omoimasu. Now, when do I add da before to omoimasu? So if you look back on our previous slide, we can see here that we've had to attach da before to omoimasu. However, here with our I adjective, we haven't needed it. So we attach da when we have a na adjective or a noun, but if we just have an I adjective or an informal verb, we only need to omoimasu. So why is that? It's because the to of to omoimasu works like the quotes in English. So the part before to must be a valid sentence. And in this case, kirei desu is the valid sentence, not simply kirei. Or Tanaka-san desu is the valid sentence. We can't simply just say Tanaka-san. Now, what do we do if the statement ends with a verb? So for example, Tanaka will come again tomorrow. Tanaka-san wa ashita mata kimasu. So if we want to change that to I think Tanaka will come again tomorrow, we have to change our verb to its plain state. So for example, Tanaka-san wa ashita mata kuru to omoimasu. So you can see here that we've changed kimasu to kuru and we've attached to omoimasu. Now if we wish to do the same thing but using the negative, for example, Tanaka won't come tomorrow. Tanaka-san wa ashita kimasen. But if we wish to say I don't think Tanaka will come tomorrow, Tanaka-san wa ashita konai to omoimasu. So again, we can see that we've changed our verb kimasu to a plain negative state in this case. Now the tense of omo and the opinion do not have to be the same. So omo is the plain tense of the verb omoimasu. So we can see here, for example, I think now the winter was cold. So this is something I'm currently thinking. Fuyu wa samukata to omoimasu. So we can see here that samui is in its past tense, samukata. However, our thought is happening in the present. So our verb 思います is in its present state. If we look at this second example, we can see the difference here. I thought at the time, winter is cold. 冬は寒いと思いました. So we can see the difference here where we have winter is cold, 冬は寒い, as opposed to winter was cold, 冬は寒かった. And again, we've also changed our verb 思います to 思いました because it's something that we thought in the past. Now, please note that Japanese people avoid presuming to know what others are thinking, except in general terms. When stating what others think, と思っています is used. So, for example, Japanese people think Australia is a beautiful country. 日本人はオーストラリアはきれいな国だと思っています. And once again, we can see here that directly after kuni is the da, kuni des, changed to kuni da と思っています. と思います is commonly used after tai also. For example, I'd like to talk about Australia. オーストラリアについて話したいと思います. By adding と思います to the end of our sentence, it makes the statement sound less aggressive and more polite than simply saying オーストラリアについて話したいです. Again, please note that in Japan, being reserved is a respected characteristic. So people will use と思います even when they know something. Now below we have some other useful ways that we can express our opinions. So for example, I don't think Eiko can speak English. So if you want to express that you don't think something, it's as simple as changing 思います to 思いません, which is the negative state of 思います. So for example, Eiko は英語を話すことができると思いません. So the rules haven't changed. We still have our opinion in its plain state, and we've changed 思います to its negative state 思いません, don't think something. If we want to put our opinion into a negative past state, for example, I did not think that Koji would be late, we can simply change 思います to 思いません and add でした, which puts it into its past tense. So for example, Koji は遅れると思いませんでした. And finally, if we want to give our opinion in its past tense, for example, I thought it would rain today, and it did, we simply change our verb 思います to its past tense 思いました. So for example, 今日雨が降ると思いました. So that's about all for this one, but if you have any questions or comments, please let me know.